Hello, good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Prime Insight right here on Joy Prime. It's been a big week of news, week that has put Ghana on the international stage. A Ghanaian member of parliament transited through Amsterdam on his way to the United Kingdom and was detained at the Schiphol International Airport by Dutch authorities. As we now know, that was the basis for an arrest warrant that had been issued by the United States of America. Since that event happened last Sunday, I should say, which is almost a week ago, we've been trying to get some answers from the U.S. law enforcement agencies on the nature of allegations that have been made against the Member of Parliament. We have not been so successful. We've gotten some response, but U.S. law enforcement agencies are tight-lipped in terms of what exactly is the nature of offense that they are accusing the Member of Parliament of committing. We've since also heard from the majority caucus in Parliament. It is that caucus that the Member of Parliament for Asante Akyem North, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, belongs to. They've been explaining the circumstances of the travel. We know it's a private travel. We know Mahama Yaga, the majority leader, has since gone to Amsterdam and met the lawmaker who is in custody. In the coming days and weeks, perhaps, he will have his day in court, and if his challenge to the legalities of the arrest is not successful, then he may be extradited to the United States of America, where he will face charges on the allegations that have been made against him. So that is a big conversation that has come up this week, and we will dissect it together with our guests on set and our studio guests as well. We'll also get into the conversation having to do with whether or not free speech is under siege in this country. Over the last few weeks, there have been a couple of arrests under what some call the Obnoxious Electronic Communications Act and other parts of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. So many people getting arrested for saying certain things, and people are not very happy about it. The NPP this week have been doing a lot. They've gone to the police headquarters, they've gone to the Accra Regional Police Command, and they've made their voices heard, demanding that so-called arrest should stop. And we'll also get into all that right here on Prime Insight. My name is Asante. I'm sitting in for Blazer Sugar on the show today. So a couple of things have happened this week. We'll just have some highlights for you. You can catch a sneak peek of that.
The honorable member was arrested Sunday morning en route to London on a private trip. Even though he was traveling on his diplomatic passport, but the trip was a private one. And because he was flying in KLM, the transit naturally will be through Schiphol in Amsterdam.
Another concern that others are raising is that this is a sitting member of parliament, and the appropriate way to have done this was to have written to parliament seeking his extradition. Was anything like that done that you're aware of?
You know, as I speak, most such communication came to parliament from either the U.S. government or Interpol that effected the arrest. To be honest with you, I was the first person he called when he had a crisis. And then I also called my principal, Honorable Ayariga. He was then also in transit. He was in London, actually traveling to Ghana. But he cut it short and had to travel to Schiphol to go meet him. So leader went to engage him for about 2 hours in the detention. So and then we got the foreign minister to also coordinate it. Then we got the ambassador, Ghana's ambassador to Hague, to actually lead the discussion. So all the critical people, including the Attorney General, who is also doing an opinion on some aspects of the matter. So the matters are being properly coordinated. We are hoping that whatever the reasons are such that it will not escalate the matter and he will be released to return home.
Yes, I think it was a comment about the diplomatic passport. Full diplomatic immunity under the Vienna Convention mainly applies to accredited diplomats posted to embassies or consulates with specific diplomatic status. Therefore, his status perhaps wouldn't be, automatically he wouldn't enjoy full immunity per se. And also the points everybody's raising about, since this was an internationally coordinated law enforcement operation without recourse we can imagine, to our own authorities a year. And if it can be said that no recourse was made to our own authorities, especially national security, YOCO, economic and organized crime, etc., the FBI did not trust them with that information should the investigation become compromised. It is also a signal to this government. This is not about party politics. But if you do not take care of things that your own agencies are notifying you about in your own country, that even I, as a lawyer, am privy to very confidential information. And if I'm privy to that, you are privy to that, and you refuse to act, you do this whole media circus about who this person allegedly is. What tends to happen is that person becomes sophisticated in the ruse. They become larger scale in terms of whatever they were doing. They can now do it with full immunity and be protected. The weight of the position he carries, the fact that it's honorable. Even I cannot be, called honorable because even though I'm a lawyer. But there's only 236 people in this whole country. 37. 76.
Yeah.
And so it is something that, with deep reverence, I believe the entire Parliament will be reflecting on this.
I like to think
But as they reflect on it, I would like to say as a lawyer that it is of no surprise to me that something like this could happen.
Let us not be in a hurry to crucify him. And let us also not be in a hurry to accept one side of the evidence and leave the other side. And let us also uphold the tenets of rule of law, and let's also respect fundamental human rights, and let us also respect the fact that Oteram Partem rule give a hearing to all parties is also an issue. At the end of the day, a result worthy of reliance and worthy of implementation. At that point, then the procedural game will start. The net effect of the decision is that it will trigger some legal processes, and the legal processes will give us answers and answers that will satisfy the whims of the populace. So for now, it is too early in the day to sacrifice. I will not sacrifice him. I will not also prosecute him in my mind, and I will also not defend, because I'm not a defense lawyer, but I will rely on due process.
Welcome back. So that is the context for this big conversation about the arrest of the Asante Akyem North Member of Parliament. And so it's time to introduce the guests who are joining us to connect on these very important national issues. Rashid Tanko Computer is the Deputy Director of IT and Election of the governing NDC. He is on Zoom. He will be on Zoom pretty shortly. He's also the CEO of GIFEC, as we know. But here in studio, right to my left, Awal Mohammed is a member of the NPP's National Communications team. Awal Mohammed, good morning. It's good to have you on the show.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
And then Ivan Che Innocent is a youth activist. I've hosted him a couple of times at Radio Universe those days, many years ago.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I've seen you in a while. Yeah. So good to have you. And then Solomon Owusu is the Director of Communications of the United Party.
Kwagu?
Yeah.
Is everything fine?
Everything is fine. And I hope everything is also fine with you.
The United Party greets you and your cherished viewers.
Great.
The next president of the land, Alan Chemati, greets you and your cherished.
I mean, but there are already conversations about bringing Alan Chemati back into them.
Who is it?
It's not a conversation.
No, who's it?
But Nana Kumia says they really have to go in, because that is where you belong.
We must stop disrespecting Alan and the United Party. We are a serious political party.
Is it a disrespect to want Alan Chemati back in the
Nana Kumia get up and go to John Mahama and say, come and join the NPP?
But isn't it different? Because
what is the difference?
I mean,
we are a political party. It's a political party. Why are they not joining us? I mean, why do they want to treat Alan as a kid? Look, the first job of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, if he really means business, is to go and convince his brother-in-law, who is a member of parliament for the people of Adenta, on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, to join the NPP. Your own brother-in-law, you're unable to convince him. How do you go and convince Alan? For me, those following the NPP, this must be your litmus test. That the person that wants to be the president, his brother-in-law does not have any confidence in him.
That's interesting. But this is not a conversation, but our brief response. You cannot just go to another political party and seek to co-opt their leader back into your fold.
Before Nana Kumia said this, Kofi Owusu Cancer, former CEO for NEIP, posted on his Facebook page that Alan should return. He got more than 3,000 comments saying that they will even leave the party if Alan returns to MPP. You see, Alan is not someone we even need in this party, to be very honest. You see, the thing is that when he left the party in 2007 or 2008, after he lost the elections,
correct.
DJ Darucha
correct him.
told us not to even accept him because he created more damage.
But that time you were in NDC, so he didn't know what happened. But
DJ Darucha,
he doesn't know it. So correct him.
Is the first
it's not true.
chairman of the party.
It's not true.
Don't accept him because if you accept him, you come and do damage to the
party. Have to clear this air.
It wasn't a 208 election, obviously.
Yeah, 207, but even he did not.
It's 208.
By the way,
I'm saying that ahead of 208.
See, because you were not in the MPP,
I said
let me tell you what happened.
He resigned.
Let me tell you what happened.
After resignation, when he said he was coming back,
yes,
BJ Darocha said that don't accept that man.
You know why? You know why BJ Darocha said that?
And he's left again. Because what is the guarantee that when we bring him back, he will not leave? Two is that today in their party if they organize even primaries, he will leave the party because he will lose the election. Alan has never won elections in his entire life.
Don't worry.
President Mahama spent Ghana's money, sponsored him for World Trade Organization. Sponsored him for World Trade Organization. He's the only person.
He was the president of the
in the history of this country.
A Ghanaian.
Exactly.
Yes,
I'm saying that he's the only Ghanaian who was sponsored for an international position like that and lost. Check the history of this country. So he's a damaged commodity.
Let me clear that.
Alan is a damaged commodity. Yeah,
no problem.
Briefly. But even in just where he says it's come from, said that 1,200.
I will say clear that.
You see, you are the two of them talking about Alan.
He keeps referring to the BG Darocha. And I can pardon him because he wasn't a member of the MPP.
I don't need to be a member of a party.
The reason why
I was a journalist then, so I knew the story.
Alan must not be accepted back into the MPP was that he said, and go and read him well, that when it came to choosing between national interest and party interest, Alan would choose national interest. But if this is the quality of Alan Chaman, when it comes to national interest and party interest, he will go for national interest.
He never said that. BJ Darocha never said that.
And Alan remains indefectible at all time. But I don't blame you. You should have remained in the end.
Great. So we'll get back to this subject. It's a very big conversation that there'll be a lot of time to have. And as always on this show, we have our studio guests, incredible minds who always join in to share their perspective with us. And I'm told Tanko Rashid Computer is on Zoom with us. So let me start with you, Ivan, on this conversation of the Asante Akyem North MP. How did you receive the news, and how did it come off to you that a member of parliament, who as we know now was traveling on a diplomatic passport on a private visit, had just been taken in by foreign law enforcement officials?
Yes, let me say good morning to you and to your viewers. I think it started as rumors on various social media platforms and information were being thrown around, but it lacked credibility, so we couldn't substantiate any of the allegations as being thrown around. But I think it was a Saturday in the morning when the news finally broke and it became confirmed that the FBI had taken custody of the MP, and that was when the confirmation came. And since then, I think there has been a cocktail of various allegations. There hasn't been exactly what the reasons are, aside the many issues that are being thrown around. And I think Parliament quickly got involved in the process, and the diplomatic channel, because just like you said, he traveled on a diplomatic passport, and then some diplomatic channel had to be open, and then negotiation and discussion had to be. But you see, when the FBI is involved, some of these things don't even matter, because America is America. When they come calling, if you're not lucky, you can't survive. So you see, Ghana's parliament has a history when it comes to some of these things, because we were here when a member of parliament was busted for a cocaine trial, and we saw the story. At the end of the day, he was jailed. So it's something that has brought some sort of something that is hanging that the Ghanaian do not want it to be a reality. And if you listen to what is being thrown around, the allegations and those kind of stuff, they are very dirty. So we are only hoping that it will not be what we're hearing. But the fact of the matter is that this gentleman, since his incursion into the political landscape of this particular country, I don't know his past life, but I think he has been quite phenomenal, because don't forget that the seat was a strong seat for the MPP. For him to break in, I don't know, they've been able to win the seat, tells you that he actually worked. So if you look at how he has carried himself, various activities that he has been engaging, developmental-oriented project that he has undertaken in the particular constituency, that is why you've been seeing the sort of reaction coming from his constituency. And I have a lot of respect for the former MP. Yeah. What is the name?
Asante Akyem.
Yes, I think the allegations that is running around came up during the campaign. These allegations of scam, whatever, came up. And people were actually using it to campaign. But now that the reality has actually hit, even though still in the shadows, he is the first person to come out to defend him that it's early days yet. Yeah. Let us hold on, listen to details of whatever the indictment or whatever is going to be before we can condemn him or we say whatever that we want to say. And for me, that is a mark of political maturity, because he would have been the first person to go to town and tell people that I told you so. But at this time, it's not about him. It is about Ghana. Our credibility is on the line. Everything is on the line. Because if it turns out to be what is being thrown out as the obvious truth, and the reputation of Ghana once again will be damaged. And it will get to a time, even if you are traveling or whatever passport, you will be subjected to whatever that you don't want to. So we are only hoping that what we are hearing might not be true. But at this stage, my fear is that when the FBI is involved in some of these matters, because you know the operations of the FBI, they don't just pounce on individuals like this. America can take over 5-6 years to conduct investigation to make sure they get credible information. So the very moment they move on you, you know, the evidence may be, or the fact may be solid tight. And if you recently look around, some of the young people they've been picking up, they will do the investigation and make sure that all the collaborators have been already assembled. So by the time you go in, to your surprise, all the needed thing that is required to convict you will be available. And for me, that is where my fear is. We are only hoping that this thing might not be true. And again, people were asking why he was busted somewhere in Amsterdam. The reality is that this is a gentleman who has a parliamentary immunity and a diplomatic shield as a parliamentarian. Even with Abu Trika as an ordinary person, look at the back and forth. So the America will definitely not come here and be requesting for an MP to be extradited. Definitely, they will look around to get him somewhere. And unfortunately, even though it was a private trip, but for the FBI, I think, because today you need to also understand that the global order has changed. Yeah. We are living in Donald Trump's world order.
They can move in and capture
president. How much more?
Solomon, there's big news, really, that a member of parliament will travel. We are told even on that flight, there were other MPs who were traveling elsewhere, just busted like that. I mean, we have a trail of events. Some of them will show it to you. How did it come to you, and how big is it significantly, and how should we be dealing with it?
No, I see it as an opportunity. It's not a big deal, as a matter of fact, because you see, people are born to commit crimes of various types, and you cannot have angels, all the 276 MPs in there being angels. In any way, what are the mechanisms that we use in scrutinizing those that go to our parliament? If you look at the structure, how people get into parliament, just go and make noise in primaries. You know, the political parties.
A lot of money.
Money, once you pay your way out, and then you are selected and the constituency favors you, you win, you go to parliament, that's it. And by virtue of that, you get diplomatic passports, that is the case. Yeah. So what is so difficult about it? That is why I'm saying it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to take a second look as to how people, as a matter of fact, get to parliament. It's not this gentleman alone. There are a lot of people loitering around. And anybody that tells you that Yoko wasn't aware of this matter will be lying to you. Yoko has been aware. Yeah. It was just a matter of time. Just like Ivan was saying, the complicities in dealing with an MP. So you know of a situation, but you are helpless, you understand. And lo and behold, he went to Amsterdam and he was busted. There are musicians in this country that I can tell you, within a year or so, they may also be busted. You get easy. The Americans, and for that matter, Europeans, they have time in investigation. The last time they came to pick Kofi Boat or so, we said he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything. Kofi Boat went and never came. Abu Trika is warming up.
And in fact, just this week, they confirmed the arrest of two twins, 22-year-old twin.
Twin!
Yeah.
You see, so, but if you have been going around in the evenings, in the nights, I don't know whether you were a nocturnal being, but one of these days, I deliberately do it. Scan through a lot of paths here and there. You would understand why some of them will likely end there. Because you see, I have been in business for a long time. The sort of lifestyles that people are living, and they are buying unnecessary pressure for the young ones. Sometimes I don't envy them. That no business will lead to that conclusion. Cannot go and grind hard and then in the night you blow about $1 million Ghana cedis. Why? Are you the son of Rockefeller? So we know it in our societies, but we eulogize them. And that's why I'm saying that it's not a big deal. But it's an opportunity to clean the system. Let the right ones get to parliament. Why am I
obviously assuming that this member of parliament is innocent, so proven guilty?
You see, forget about that innocent business. You think America will spend money, if you are to extradite him from Amsterdam to the United States, it will cost them money to buy a ticket. They will buy a ticket and go and pick somebody from Amsterdam to the United States for the fun of it. These ones, we say to please family members, loved ones. But the reality is that in future there will be a by-election there. I have no doubt in my mind. You know, somewhere, latter part of last year or so, it came out that he had been arrested in the UK in connection with the same situation. Is that not the case?
At the time he denied it, but obviously he came back to the country. So.
He came back, he decided to go back, and this time around, it happened. It's normal. Let's use it to advise ourselves and let the young ones also know that it's not all that glitters. That is good. Let's work out and then make sure that we do not get ourselves involved in some of these things.
Wow.
Yes, I think it's quite unfortunate. When I heard it, I was not really happy because I believe that this someone who has been doing so well for his constituency. He had an MPP background, so when we opened the nominations, he didn't pick the nominations, but he did a lot of work before he even picked the nomination to contest as independent. He built a mosque for the Zongo over there. So when you go to the Zongo police station, he swept all the Zongo police stations. Even the NDC couldn't win the Zongo. So this is someone who is very popular within the constituency. Even last week, pictures emerged that he was even sharing wax print to women and so on. And again, I remember when his radio station was closed down. It's one of the reasons that propelled him to even win the elections. He was using it to campaign. So someone within the NPP said that, well, let's look at how he got the license and so on. And indeed, you know, if they are to go back and check, definitely you may fall foul. So the radio station was closed. You saw women going to the radio station demonstrating and so. So this is a very popular person within his constituency. And again, as MP, he's been doing so well. So when I heard it, I said, well, is it confirming the rumor we heard? You remember last year, after he was even elected as MP, when he traveled to the UK, and that was an official travel. It came that he has been arrested and so on. So he slept in the hotel, did a video, told Ghanaians that he has not been arrested. So now the arrest came and we're told he's holding diplomatic passport. We know very well that if he's on an official travel, there is a waiver on him. You couldn't have arrested him. But this one was really a private one. So, and that's the reason they were able to arrest him. I think it's difficult to predict the outcome, but as Solo said, US, if they are doing an investigation, it can take them 10 years to even finish. Before they catch up and arrest the person, it has taken them like 5-6 years for them to be able to know that if we arrest him, we'll be able to prosecute him and get conviction. And so that's what they do. Look at our own sister, Aja Forel. They trail her for a longer time, for like 6-7 years. Whilst they were trailing her, she was still doing those things. Then after they arrested her, they were able to send her and they were able to get conviction and they convicted her. So yes, I think we only pray for him. As a Ghanaian, I will be happy that he leave the country unscathed. Yeah. But if he is really guilty, the law must take its course. But we believe that looking at the things, the testimonies that come from people and so on, I don't know. I don't have any cause to believe that he engaged in any fraudulent activity. So we pray that he's able to come unscathed. But my only question is that I know all parliamentarians use service passport. Yeah. It's only those who are diplomats that use diplomatic passport. So when I heard Daffy Amopo saying that he uses a diplomatic passport, I was really taken aback because knowing very well, you have been in Parliament for a longer time and you know that all parliamentarians use service passport. I
think these days it's becoming a thing. A lot of them are getting diplomatic passports. Recently, there was a signpost that I saw in Parliament, the members of Parliament should register for a diplomatic passport. Okay. So I think a lot of them are getting it. Okay. So that's the only challenge that I have, because when I saw a diplomatic passport, I said, oh, he's traveling on diplomatic passport, when I know even the service passport, that's almost the same thing, because if you're a parliamentarian, you have unimpeded access to countries you want to go if you have the service passport. Yeah. But we believe that we pray and hope that he comes back unscathed. Yeah. Under the Vienna Convention, diplomats, envoys, and other people holding diplomatic passports who are on such official business usually will not be arrested for whatever crime. Dr. Tankrashid Computer, this is not a member of your party, but he caucuses with your party in Parliament. He has in the majority side, that is the NDC in Parliament. He caucuses with you. And so, in fact, since then, there have been a whole lot of political razzmatazz trying to link it to the NDC. We know for a fact he's not a member of the NDC. But for you, as a Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC, and given the close business he does with your caucus in Parliament, how do you react to the development as we have it now?
Brother, let me say good morning to you and your cherished viewers across the globe. Let me say good morning to Solo, Ivan, and then Brother Howell. And once again, let me apologize for not joining you in the studio. I had to dash out for official assignment. Sorry for not coming. Next time I'll be in the studio. Yes, it's early days yet for us to condemn the honorable member. If you look at the information trickling in, it's still sketchy. As a government and the party, we are closely monitoring the situation to see what is the real reason behind his detention. Well, the sketchy information we had is that there was a FBI notice for his arrest. And like Ivan was saying, due to diplomatic nuances and all that, and I'm happy you've mentioned the Vienna Convention. So that is why they don't want to say he has been arrested. They are using the term, diplomatic terms, detention, just to not to violate the Vienna Convention, because this is an honorable member of Parliament. He represents the good people of Asante Akyem. He's a young man. He's been doing fantastic. I remember about 2 weeks ago, he was in my office pleading to extend rural telephony to his constituency. That is the level of which he's been pushing to develop the constituency. In fact, you could see the passion in him. When he was telling me about his people, need to get network for them, the rural community, they need network, they need to. I could see the passion in this young man. So it came to me as a shock when I heard this story. But I'm happy government is extending diplomatic courtesies to make sure that, look, every citizen, wherever you are, the government of Ghana will be behind you. Whatever being the case, we will extend all the courtesies that he needs to make sure that he goes through the process until his prosecuted and conviction is arrived at. I don't think for now anybody can call him a criminal. Such a person cannot be described as such. It's just unfortunate this thing has happened. It does happen, and so let's keep our fingers crossed. And I believe that whatever being the case, the government will still stand by our citizens wherever you find yourself, and then until you go through the legal process.
Right. Let me come to the studio guests. I mean, big news for Asante Akyem North and for the country. How have you been receiving and how did you react to the development of Member of Parliament? Any of you, any takers on this subject of the Member of Parliament being arrested and detained? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Asante. Good morning, studio
have you seen this?
And our audience. When this news broke, I for one was a bit surprised because I know this is an honourable Member of Parliament, and for that matter, it is expected of him to hold a certain high standards in society. So when the issue of the detention came about, then it immediately struck me to ask the question, what possibly could he have done to deserve that FBI will run him down at the Schiphol airport and detain him? It must have been something damning. And that simple fact alone gave me a lot of cause for worry. But of course, we have to err on the side of caution to say that there isn't evidence to back the claims that we are hearing. They are canards at this point. They remain canards until the evidences have been adduced to be able to substantiate them. But that is even on the side. The other part that I would want to touch on is the bit about what Mr. Solomon said, to say that this is an opportunity for us. It is an opportunity for us to, first of all, look at who and who gets to Parliament, but also to look at how Ghanaian laws operate. Mr. Innocent made a point that when it comes to FBI, in fact, there are no holds back. They will do anything they have to do to clamp down on anybody who breaks their law. But is that the case when it comes to Ghana? Have we not had foreign companies, foreign individuals come down to the Ghanaian jurisdiction to flagrantly breach our laws? And how do we take them? We're in this country when an American rapper came down here to come and exhibit certain illegal substances on camera. When we couldn't even impound the person, not much was said about it. Yeah. What happened? I mean, look at the PDS scandal. For a foreign company to even think about it, that they are going to forge documents to come and obtain contracts for the Ghanaian government, for me, it's at the height of it. And so, for me, the opportunity also comes to us to also look at how we can strengthen the Ghanaian laws to make sure that just as the American law will cut to the core when anybody breaches their laws, ours will also cut to the core when anybody breaches our laws. Yeah. And that is, for me, the very fundamental point that must be made as far as this matter is concerned. So for now, without much, I would want to say this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other takers?
Good morning, Mr. Host, and your able panel members, and then my colleagues in the studio. Honestly speaking, this news came to me as a surprise. But then ideally, it's always a caution to the ordinary Ghanaian. You know, anytime election is at stake, we don't want to take the pain to dive much into the individuals who want to be on ticket to go and represent us in our House of Records. We tend to make sure that, he might be of good behavior, he's a good person here, and then let's consider. But you see, like a popular account saying, if you be a men's home. So all these behaviors cut across, both in the NDC and then in the MPP. But I believe that the rule of natural justice will always tell you that everybody must have a fair hearing at the court. So definitely the honorable man is going to have his fair hearing. But behind every rumor, there's always an iota of truth. So for me, it is a wake-up call to us as Ghanaians, the kind of people that we give them the title honorable to go represent us in the House of Record. It's a wake-up call. We need to dive much and deep into the very individuals that we give them the nod to be in our House of Records. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Kweku.
Yeah.
I come from Asante Akyem.
Oh, okay. So that's a constituency.
And I wasn't so surprised though, because I've been seeing him do a lot of things, especially when it comes to money. Dashing money out, even when he wasn't an MP. Yeah, we were seeing him do a lot of things. And ask myself, as a young guy, how did he make that money and why is he spending that money? I keep asking myself. So I wasn't so surprised.
As a businessman making money?
No, as a businessman making money and spending it anyhow. Because
to help his constituents, to help you.
To help us?
Yes.
I believe in helping us. But I don't believe in like this way. Like as a young guy now coming up, you can't just be blowing like millions of Ghana cedis just anyhow. Oh, brothers, you suffered before you got the money. So, and the democracy in our politics, the democracy in our politics. Now, people can just make money through illegal ways and then go to parliament just to cover up their illegalities. That's the problem we have now. The delegates will take money. Delegates, constituents will take money and just push anybody to parliament. Just because whether the person can work or not, or so we have to push him to parliament, which is wrong. We have to make sure, like my boss, Sosolo said, we have to make sure we push people who are credible to parliament. We have to make sure we put people who are credible to parliament because they represent us. And this is an embarrassment to the country. We just pray he comes home safely because he's from my constituency, from my hometown. Yeah, that's I just pray he comes home here. I know his parents and everything, so I just pray he comes home safely.
Right. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. Upon hearing the news, the first thing that I thought is this is a big damage to our international reputation, right? Because for we to have an MP who is being charged for this kind of fraudulent issues is a very big issue for us. And we are having this kind of issues every now and days. And it seems like now the subject of this, subject of we having now in the country is about fraudulent everywhere. Everybody is frauding. We
just do not know as of now. Of course, there are claims that it may be because of that, but
the way the FBI is in this country, and it's always on Ghanaians, it's kind of really damaging the international reputation that we have. And these things needs to be looked upon. And as an MP, that you are representing a whole constitution, not only a constituency, but as in the country as in whole. And you are facing such problems, it's not a comfort, right? So I think what Mr. Solo said is it's high time we go back and check things, and the procedures that needs to be followed in order for you to go to parliament needs to be checked in terms of financial basis and stuff. Yeah. So I think we need to look at that.
Thank you. Let me go to Tanko. And Tanko, you are in government, and I'll come back here around the table. There are those who've said that, listen, this is a member of parliament. If the US wanted him, they should have at least elected the government. We do not have some communication here from the foreign ministry, but no one has actually confirmed that the Ghanaian government was engaged on this call. Do you think this is a diplomatic ambush, a sort of a disrespect to the country, that the US can just latch on to a member of parliament outside the jurisdiction and just seek to take him away?
Government is engaging the United States Embassy over this issue. Clearly, our foreign minister is on top of issues. As soon as the issue happened, I think he met with the ambassador to discuss the matter. And the way FBI operates, sometimes they also keep certain information from even their own foreign diplomatic departments. That's how they are. You know how the Americans are. Yeah. Sometimes when they are dealing with issues of national security at that level, they sometimes don't even give information to their foreign offices. And so our foreign affairs minister is dealing with the matter. That is why they engaged our office in Hague, and they got a lawyer, an astute lawyer who is practicing in Netherlands. In fact, he's a Ghanaian, to deal with the matter. Right. And that is why up till now, the honorable member has still not been extradited to United States. He's still in Netherlands. He's not in any jail or anything, or he's just at a detention center. Access has been given to the lawyer. They are discussing the matter. It's government-to-government issue, and I know something is being done behind the scene. Information is being shared at the appropriate time. That is why I said a lot of information will be made public. Yeah, it's just that it's early days yet. We just want to be sure what the FBI is trying to do. Yeah, and then we'll see what kind of defense that the honorable member will put up on the issues that they are trying to put against him. Yeah, so I can assure you, government will make sure that we protect the liberties of every Ghanaian, wherever you find yourself, with all the difficulties that will come, a government will protect. This is a government of the people. We, the Ghanaian people, voted for this government to protect them, and therefore.
So you see that there's an issue of trust in here, that maybe perhaps the U.S. government did not trust that if they informed Ghanaian authorities, they would not have taken the member of parliament off, or that they would have properly taken him through the system and extradited him to the U.S. Very briefly on that.
It's not about trust. It's not. This one is not about trust. If you study international politics and security, you'll get to know that when national security is involved in matters of this nature, sometimes they bypass diplomatic missions and all that, and just execute it.
Yeah.
For instance, if you look at how they picked up the president of Venezuela, the embassy in the United States and this place at Caracas had no information about the coming of the Marines.
Yeah.
And so it is not about trust.
Yeah.
So long as FBI is involved, it's a national security matter.
Right.
Of the United States.
Brilliant.
And so it's not about trust.
Okay.
Not that they don't trust Ghana. They do a lot of things, a lot of interesting operations in countries without their diplomatic mission being aware.
Right.
And so it's just not about trust.
Okay. Solomon, but this is also a big issue because we know we have such a relationship with the U.S. We extradite our people to the U.S. all the time, particularly the quote-unquote fraud boys. Yeah. We have been seeking Ken Ofori-Atta for some time now. We haven't gotten him. But there are those who have said that there could have been a close collaboration between the two countries on this particular one. What do you think of that?
I mean, from where I sit, if anybody tells you the security apparatus weren't aware of this matter, I'll be lying. They were fully aware because of what you call confidentiality. When you get certain information, you don't want to get it out. Remember, about a month ago, there was even publications to the effect that there will be a by-election in this country. Yeah. Remember that issue? Why do you think it came out? It's been there. The only problem that the security authorities were facing was what was clearly spelled out by Ivan. Yeah. As a member of parliament, how do you deal with such situations? So it's not as though, I mean, of the 54 countries in Africa, the country that has the closest relationship with the United States is Ghana. Yeah. They even have a base here, if people don't know. So it's not as though the authorities did not know, but it was about how to go around it. It's not him alone. I keep telling you. There are other people that are also on the line, that they are finding ways and means to, as it were, get them arrested. But you raise a very critical issue, that how is it that they are able to come here and arrest our people for amounts that are far less than what our own people who are living in their country are alleged to have expended. We are talking about Ken Ofori-Atta here. Billions of dollars. These are twinkle little stars. Their money get nowhere near what we are discussing. So I believe that beyond helping the United States to perform their duties, because the duty of every government in this world is to protect your citizens. If the United States of America believes that its citizens have, in one way or other, been swindled, I am with them.
Yeah.
True and true. I don't see why, from what we are hearing, those that were picked earlier on to the United States on issues of romance should be made to work freely.
Yeah.
That you go and scam an old lady, an old man, and take the pension money and you think I'll support you. The last time I raised this issue, someone was telling me that, oh, they came here to steal, loot our gold, and so I said, you must be crazy. Did they put down on you?
Yeah.
As we speak, Anglo Goldfields, by next year, the lease will be due for what? Renewal.
They want 20 more years.
You want 20 more years when Ghanaians can do it. If you go and renew it and you say that, oh, they came to take our gold, then you must be living in a fool's paradise. Don't give them the lease. Don't renew it. Give it to the Ghanaian. So that we take full control of our resources. But don't use that as an excuse that they came to loot from us, so you are also using other ways and means to go and scam people. And even when you succeed, the sort of things that they use the money for, it tells me that they are not serious. They have no business looking for money. If all that you yearn for is to get money and to go to nightclub and blow it overnight, then you have wasted everybody's time. So I believe that it's a good thing. But the Ghana government must up the game and also negotiate very well with the United States so that when our people, remember we have Kenneth Oyata there and also
and Estakore
and there's Esedinam Tamaklo. By now they should be here. We need the money to develop this country. Fast.
Ivan.
I think back to your question, I don't know if you've ever come across the template, the treaty that Ghana signed in 1931 with the US. You see, they gave a special treat to political and military offenses. So that is a special categorization. And Kendoforiata falls within that particular fold or that description or category. So it's really difficult when you are extraditing persons who are involved in any of these instances. That is why it has become really tricky. But when it comes to fraud and some of these petty crimes, the amount involved may be huge, but it's so easy because all that you have to do is prepare your indictment, send it over, and then you have a judge head. If they are able to find reason or justification, it's simple to go. But when it comes to political related matters and military offenses, it's a different thing. And Kenneth Oyata himself, he knows his lawyers are privy to this reality and they're just playing the game around it. So that is it. And when it comes to some of these things, I think it's a huge indictment on us as people because, I don't know, we need to just pause, reflect. Because very often when things happen in this country, we are quick to blame others. But the thing is that, how is it possible for young men who own nothing, no business, to be receiving millions of dollars into their account in this country without raising any red flag? The banks are aware, the state, everybody is privy to some of these things, and some of these guys are not even smart. They flaunt the money on social media when you know you don't sell anything. You understand? The FBI since 2010 added Ghana to Nigeria as one of the countries as hotspot for some of these fraudulent activities. And for them, they've been doing investigation based on what happened to them in 2001, post-2020, 2001, after the, how do you call it, the Twin Tower incident. The U.S. has been very concerned about terrorism financing around the globe. So some of these things, it's not always done by one person. It's a syndicate. So they will wait and understand the extent of whatever the operation, who is involved, when they take the money, where do the money even go? Is it to finance terrorism or whatever? So until the U.S. is able to appreciate the extent and the scale of the operations, whoever is involved, they will never move in. And you must be a fool to think in this modern time that you can scam somebody in America and the money will pass through the financial system designed by the same America, because the world financial system today is designed by America. So you cannot transmit money anywhere through the system and say you have swindled anybody. No, they won't, maybe they will not mind you, you understand? And there are people in this country, just like Solo said, who have been involved in some of this because for them, they were not part of the syndicate. But you see, duping somebody to take the money in America is a different thing. But transmitting the money down here is the whole deal. So there are people who have accounts. Foreign, some are musicians, some are big pastors. Because in America, when you are sending money through churches and the tax people give you a waiver, so they don't monitor. So some of the pastors around 2014, you saw most of them buying big cars. So people were using their account, sending the money. They will come and take the money and give you your card. That is what they were doing. So they have a dossier on a number of people. But ask yourself, why did we sit down and allow these things to fester? So if the U.S. today has realized the extent and the scale of this criminal activity, which the state has sat aloof, they will not recognize you. And when it comes to America, you're talking about diplomatics. They always have a way. Remember, when they engage these bounty hunters in Afghan, when they asked them to arrest people, when they brought them to the United States of America, it was against the law because prisoners of war have a certain treat. They sat down and coined a designation. They called them enemy combatant of state. If you find the entire U.S. Constitution, there is nothing that protects enemy combatant of state. And they took them to Guantanamo Bay. You see, human rights activists were asking, but the thing is, what legal framework or what legal arrangement protect these individuals? You understand? They always find a way. So for me, we need to accept the reality that we are one way or the other culpable, because there is no country in the world that should sit down and allow some of these things to happen. When these guys were throwing money all over all over on social media. The security agencies, they were privy to some of these things. You understand? So I think that we need to begin to rewrite the narrative. Else, we will, if we are not careful and we brandish as such, we will suffer, because you may be a diplomat, travel anywhere, and they will subject you to whatever that you don't want to be subjected to. So for me, I think it's a wake-up call for us as a country to just do things right. And then political party financing and some of these individuals who come with a lot of money. When Chada came back to this country and wanted to be president, people started questioning the source of his wealth. He was angry. My point is that if you want to lead people, you should be bold enough to be able to tell people where the source of funding. You understand? Because in the past we've seen, if you go to Colombia and then the other part of the world, where some of these drug campaigns got involved in politics, we saw the excesses that came with it. So if you know you make your money legitimately, you should even be proud to tell people this, just to inspire young people. But if you cannot, and the system has designed no checks to be able to monitor some of these things, at the end of the day, you end up enlisting criminals and give them executive tag, and they will go about embarrassing you. And that is what we are facing.
We are not pronouncing the guilt of the Member of Parliament. This conversation is a general conversation about because yesterday the Department of Justice, the FBI, they published a list, and the number of Ghanaians who are spending time in U.S. jail for engaging in fraud, the sheer number, it troubled me yesterday. I made a post on that on social media because, I mean, this is not to victimize Nigerians, but for a long time, some of those things were associated with Nigeria. We are getting to a place where Ghanaians are becoming so much involved in fraud, and like Solomon just said, you go out there, the kind of vehicles that some of these, and these two boys that have been arrested in the U.S.
They're twins?
They are twins. Arrangement in Lancaster or something like that. 22-year-olds. And the kind of vehicles that you've seen the videos they are driving in, the kind of money they have, what they spend on, it's incredible and it's troubling. So as we prepare to move away from this conversation now, I wonder how concerned you are about this thing with fraud becoming such ingrained in our society. And again, I must emphasize that we're not pronouncing the guilt, we're not saying the Member of Parliament is a fraudster or anything, but it's such a big thing that has happened with so many young people now getting into that free of society.
I think our security agencies are failing because if you check our laws, we have the OSP, the FIC, and the YOCO, who are mandated to do lifestyle audit of private citizens. They can just find someone with a big car, they can arrest him, ask him where he got it from. It's in our laws that they can do that. But unfortunately, they don't do it. How many offices do we have in the regions that for FIC, YOCO, or any other? And what do they do over there? Usually they wait until there are reports and so on. Meanwhile, it's part of their mandate that they can even do that. They can do lifestyle audit. Look at the young men, look at them and ask them what they do so that they will be able to really ascertain. Before even US will come in, for all you know, the person is even in Ghana and he is engaged in the fraudulent activity here in this country. Look at this Galamsey. If they are able to step up their work and they are able to do a lot of lifestyle audit, even Galamsey will even be a thing of the past, because usually those you see with the bigger cars and so on, some of them are Galamsey operators. I remember around 2017, 2018, when there was a ban on small-scale mining. In my constituency, Asawasi constituency, around Bobine, the number of excavators that were moved to houses over there were overwhelming. And these are bigger houses built by young people because they sponsored it. They will sponsor the Galamsey over there, then they will come and be living ostentatious lifestyle. You get it? So I believe that the FIC, the YOCO and others should be able to step up their work and look at these young people, their sources of funding. We don't have to wait for US to come and say that these people defrauded us and so on. Let's do that auditing here in this country so that we will know that these guys, their sources of funding is this, and we'll be able to clamp down on them. I do not want Ghanaians to start making a lot of noise. On Abu Treka, I was indifferent until I saw people coming to say that, well, he was doing this for us, he was doing that for us, and so on. Then when we ask what Abu Treka does, we didn't get the work he does throughout. He is not really gainfully employed, as we know. I'm not saying he's guilty of the offenses, but I'm saying that when you check from Swedru, he is not someone who is gainfully employed.
Or running some
business and so on.
Proud to him.
Quick one, you see, where they say they serve community, that has been the playbook. Pablo Escobar, when they went to arrest, it was some people who were protecting him. And then this guy lived the same life, a Chapo. When they went to arrest him, because it could happen that the whole year can just distribute, but you wake up and you have a big bundle of money in front of your door. You understand? So charity has always been a playbook, has been part of the narrative when it comes to these people.
Yeah, so when my brother from Asante Akyem said that the MP, it just drew my attention to something. That indeed, if you look at the kind of things that he did in the constituency and the kind of money he expended, every year he was giving single mothers, not less than 1,000 single mothers money for Christmas. Almost every year, for like 3-4 years. He was doing it before he won the election. So he was extremely popular over there. So when the radio station was closed, that was the catalyst. He felt that, the MPP do not want him to be an MP. So I believe that, yes, we can do this. And again, we have to really look at the sources of funding of those who will contest our elections. Not necessarily independent candidates, even those in our political parties. Let's look at their sources of funding, because you will be there working, nurturing a constituency. Someone come from nowhere, come with a lot of money, buy the delegates, and automatically he's an MP. It's not peculiar to MPP areas, but this is peculiar in safe seats for both NDC and MPP. And you end up having someone like this becoming an MP. He travels on private capacity, then he's arrested, then they will say you are MP. But if he was to travel on an official capacity, because of that immunity, he will not be able to. But quick one. Ken Oforiatta has not really been convicted by any court that he has embezzled any money.
There are major allegations against him.
There are allegations. And you see,
why won't you just
run away? So when you check the arguments of his lawyers, they are saying that they fear persecution in this country. Looking at our history and our statutes and our laws state that you can still convict him in absentia. The case can still go on. He's not the only person standing trial. Don't forget that.
He's the main thief.
I'm saying that he's not the only person standing trial. Since he's not the only person standing trial, the trial can still continue whilst all the issues will be on. The laws of this country permits that. That is one. Two is that he has never said that he's declining an inquiry into his tenure. You remember when he was living? He left a letter, left his official residence in the US, told them this is his number, showed them the hospital he was in. We were thinking that the OSP could have interviewed him through Zoom. Even the elections petitions, that is about the stability of this country. People were raised on Zoom.
All right. So yes, it's a no-go zone, because clearly a finance minister who has run away from this country, I don't expect you as a young man growing up to be defending the indefensible. Billions of dollars, we are told, allegedly.
We're told.
Of course.
Hanan case.
I'm coming.
From 78 million to 700.
Let's make progress.
For 1 year, the NDC said he has embezzled 78 million. Yesterday, the new charge is that it's not even up to a million Ghana.
So the next issue is,
they have wasted our time for nothing.
Sometime last year, and I'm happy you were discussing the way you were discussing. You see, give time some time. I petitioned the OSP to investigate Dr. Mahmoud
Look
Bawumia
at this,
on
this rubbish.
His pronouncement that he single-handedly procured more than 300 pickups. I did that not because I hated the person. I wanted to test our existing political structure to know how people actually fund some of these activities. The OSP decided deliberately. What are we discussing today? The vice president, you know his salary. Is that not the case? But he was bold enough to tell you
the vice president started work in 1998.
I can put all the salary together.
In the
I cannot
90s.
buy 10.
In the 90s.
10 of the pickups.
In the 90s.
No,
in the 90s.
A dime.
10 of the pickups.
These are
as vice president for 8 years.
A while ago, he was here saying that the sort of monies that Ohene Frimpong has been spending in the Asante Akyem North area is mind-boggling. Is that the case?
Yes.
Your vice president, we all know his salary. If he decided not to touch it, he did not work only vice president. He couldn't procure even 10 of it. Now he comes to tell us that single-handedly, he procured more than...
So when he says he procured more than 300 vehicles, it came from his direct pocket.
Fantastic.
Can you imagine
the OSP should have investigated.
Absolutely. To see whether even the likes of these
the OSP
about
contributed that vexation. That was the reason the OSP didn't even...
Now, the next issue that I want to be addressed with this insight that the gentleman is holding a diplomatic passport. I think it's about time that the state publishes all those holding diplomatic passport so that Ghanaians will begin to have input on that list. Maybe we have clear case of people who are criminals holding a diplomatic passport. In that case, we avert ourselves the troubles of some of these things. Because it cannot be in secrecy. So I'm calling on, if they are not going to provide, I'll write to them the right to information, to furnish me with the entire list.
Thank you, Akufo,
of Ghanaians
for passing right to information. Now my brother is using it.
Holding what? Diplomatic passport. You are saying what?
Thank you, Akufo, for passing
if you
right
want
to
to comment
information.
on this matter,
That today,
to declare how he procured. Because at the end of the night, there is no difference between Abutu.
It's not accountable to the UP.
Kwaku, and the FBI people...
Very quick one.
Yeah, people say when the FBI come, they don't come. They just show up.
Of course.
They are here already.
Yeah, they are all over.
Intelligence services are all over. So anything happening, they're already in the nose.
Yeah, in town, yeah, in town.
That credible.
And when someone said US can come at any time and do, I remember when we were reading Introduction to International Relations in my first degree, we had might is right.
Yeah.
And now it is practical.
Yeah. I mean,
since they are able to even go and pick
a president
of a country, of a sovereign country, it tells you that might is really right.
We're getting some messages from you. Joseph Forson says there must be a healthy discussion about the vetting, security checks, and due diligence before one can become an MP. That is Joseph Forson. Ibrahim Abdul Karim Jabbar says African countries are just scared of the US. And then Neo Dati Mills, Awal should tell us how Bamia was able to buy the pickups for his campaign. The same points Owusu was making.